What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? It's Dan here from Cryonoir. So, episode 1.3 of Bad Influence. This first aired on the 12th of November 1992. So, yeah, let's crack on. Let's jump in. See what old Andy Crane and Violet have got for us this week. Every time I hear this theme tune music, it always just reminds me of Home Improvements, you know, with Tim Allen.
Hi,
it's
this is
very similar feel.
In this week's show, our panel reviews Super Aleste on the SNES.
Ah, Super Aleste. Yeah, I've got this for the SNES.
And I'll be looking at a new way of using a computer to produce ballets.
Oh, we have some niche material going on now.
Entertainment show in London.
Yeah, Super Aleste. I bought that on the first retro collecting vlog.
This is the new Amiga 1200.
Released next week,
it will set you back a cool £400. Now, I know the Amiga's been around for 8 years already, but this new machine is being sold.
It's a bomb. Those joysticks are going for good money now as well. I used to have two of those for my 1200 that I inherited. I bought my first 1200 plus two joysticks plus boxes and boxes of games. And I bought it for like, I think it was about 50 quid.
The new improved tools. Notice how the foreground and the background are moving relative to each other.
Parallax.
Sims will scroll more smoothly and run much faster. This is a specially written version of Nigel Mansell's World Championship, and it's
actually looks legit. That looks alright.
If Namrud were here, he'd probably tell you that the A1200's got 2 meg of memory and a 32-bit processor, but mercifully he isn't. However, if you're thinking of upgrading your hardware, beware. 1/3 of existing Amiga software won't run on this machine. The trouble is, nobody knows which third, not even the manufacturers.
And the kickstarts are really easy to sort out.
Namrud here,
well, by somebody else anyway.
Joystick jugglers. This is for a game with two names. It's called Legend of Galahad on the Mega Drive and Leander on the Amiga. This classic chip works for both games. All you have to do is type in LTUS as a level code, then you get infinite lives. So, I can never die.
Groovy.
Eat dirt, Johnny Guardian.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know that one.
What a horrible thought.
No.
Now it's time for this week's game reviews. Our panel have been looking at Super Aleste on the SNES. What do you think of it?
It's a really good game and I'm just getting into it at the moment.
Well, I'll leave you to it. It's a ferociously fast space.
And there we go. That'll do for a review, I think. It's a really good game and I'm just getting into it.
I've got to admit that I don't like shoot-em-ups very much, but Super Aleste is excellent. It's fast and it really moves along. It's very addictive as well. And if you die in this game,
bit ropey on the old track in there.
This guy's kind of hard, so I've just used a smart bomb to kill him off. And in this game, there's quite a few power-ups to be collected. They're very lethal, and if you power them up, they make them even more lethal. You can also change the way in which you shoot, which is a good idea. The graphics
literally cannot tell what is going on now. Looks pretty cool. Looks really cool.
And every time you progress through the game, there's something new to see. This part's kind of easy, and it's on the short game, which is for people who just want a quick blast. The backdrop in the game is really good, and it gives the game a good 3D feel. Oh, I'm dead. I thought this game would be for shoot-em-up fans only, but I think most people would enjoy this game. And just look at that end-of-level sprite. This game's
that end-of-level sprite. The end-of.
I like this game. It's very addictive, and I think the weapons were brilliant, and it looked great.
Is she wearing a quilt?
The graphics are certainly excellent. I know I'm in a minority, but I just didn't find it playable.
Oh.
It's a really exciting game. It's fast, and you get really absorbed into it. I'd definitely buy it.
And so,
so everyone loves Super Aleste.
The boys gave it 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5?
And the girls gave it 5 out of 5.
Wow, that's a perfect score. 45.99. Perfect score for that.
And so our panel loved Super Aleste. Giving it 5 stars means it's a Jurassic game. They can award as low as 1 star.
Again,
what does 1 star mean?
Again, we're back with the Jurassic.
But remember, our panel is made up of people who actually
I don't ever
buy
remember
the game.
saying Jurassic
But
at
now,
school.
for something completely different.
You see, this is definitely the downside of Bad Influence. Like when it goes all like, you know, tomorrow's world, and we have to have other justifications for computers. I'm just like, oh god, can we not just focus on the games, please? Oh.
was unusual because it was written using a new computer system called Lifeforms. It was written by choreographer Mark Baldwin, who also performed it with Christine Tanner. How does it work, Mark?
The screen's divided into three. Here we have a dancer.
That's a hell of a PC
in
there.
whatever fashion I want. He moves just like a human would. All the joints move in quite a human way. Here's the left thigh moving from the hip socket.
Can it do anything humanly possible?
Yeah, it can do anything humanly possible and a lot more. So I have to be careful as a dancer and a choreographer. I know what a human can do.
Oh, I see. So it couldn't sort of jump.
Yeah, you couldn't jump like that and sort of stay like that forever. Let me see what he's doing here. This is the pelvis.
You couldn't just defy gravity and hover.
But what's this?
This is the stage, so you can see where your dancer is in the stage. And I can also make pathways for the dancer. Get him to shift around, or I can make him turn around, or I can make him jump in the air.
But no one could jump that high.
No one could jump that high or in that shape, but as a choreographer, I would actually have someone come along and lift them, so it's up to me to interpret this material that I'm making up on the machine.
So you have to use your common sense.
Yeah, you've got to use your common sense.
What's this?
This is the timeline. It's like watching a movie. These are all the frames of the movie. In the first frame, if I've got the dancer doing this, and then if I move along to frame 5 and find another shape that I like and put it in frame 5, the machine will actually connect frame 1 and frame 5 for me, so I don't have to fill in frames 2, 3, and 4.
So the dancer
well, that's
in one
pretty
position,
handy.
and then you say 5 seconds later it'll be in another position,
Yeah.
and the computer fills it in for you.
Yeah. Thank
So
God.
can I see a phrase from the
Thank God.
dance?
Because
Yeah, sure. This
I like.
is one. It took me quite a while to make this one.
I mean, he
I'm quite new
doesn't.
to it,
He
but,
doesn't seem to be
and
like totally
if you're
enthused
doing
by
a
the whole
movement that is
process. It
quite
has to be
small,
said.
Movements. It doesn't take so long. But if you're doing broad gestures, you can do it quite quickly. It gives me a sort of. It's like a visual tool.
Can I see Christine doing that?
Yeah, Christine knows this phrase.
Okay, and then
So
there he
would
comes
Christine
up,
have worked
and
out
then
this movement
touch the
from
ground.
seeing it back on the computer?
Well, I learnt it from the computer, and then I showed it to Christine, and she's doing her own interpretation of what it is.
So what are the other advantages
marvellous.
of using the system?
Well, the advantage is that I don't have to hire a studio and dancers, and I can choreograph at 10:30 at night, and I don't need loads of space to do it.
Has this system been used much?
Yeah, the system's been used for about 3.5 years by an American choreographer called Merce Cunningham. And in fact, he's done a piece for Rombay Dance Company called Touch Bass.
Well, thanks for showing us
Marvellous,
that.
marvellous.
And
Thank you very
Touch Base is being
much.
performed by the Rombay Dance Company, who are currently on tour, and dates and details are in the data blast.
Did they fund this episode, perchance? Do you think a lot of 10 and 12-year-old kids that were watching CITV or were watching Bad Influence were like, oh, can we go see the ballet? I think it was written on a computer. I think you're firing.
Scrotty rubbish.
Yes,
I learned
well
to
said.
dance from the software called Street Fighter 2. Anyway, this is a cheat for Battletoads on the NES.
Yay.
When the title screen appears, hold down A, B, and down, then press Start.
Right.
This is a totally awesome cheat.
Good punning.
Because when you start the game, you start with 5 toads instead of 3. What do you think about that, Slimy? Good, isn't it?
All of Nam's hints, tips and cheats are available in our data blast. To access it, you should
Oh,
know the drill
look
by
at
now,
that
but
girl
I'll show
sat
you
next to
one more
Andy
time.
Crane.
Video
She's
of
gutted.
the
Everyone
credits
else
at the end
has
of
got
the
like a
programme,
console and
and
she's just
then
been given a
rewind them and play
VCR
them
to
back yourself.
hold.
Don't play them back at full speed. Use the pause and the frame advance or the jog button, whatever it's called on your video, and you should be able to scroll through up to 50 different pages of information.
Yeah, we know what the
completely
data. Oh, that was the
free,
Amiga
gratis,
tech show, wasn't
and
it?
for nothing.
But anyway, we know all
Lastly,
about the data
saw
blast
the
now.
biggest games event of the year, the Future Show at Earl's Court in London. You weren't there? Don't worry, I was, and I took a Bad Influence film crew with me. If computer games are where it's at for you, then this is definitely the place to be. There have been thousands of people here at Earl's Court over the past 4 days. In fact, at one stage on Saturday, there were so many people here, they had to close the doors, and that nearly caused a riot. So what's the
Ocean.
big attraction? That is, see at the bottom,
Oh, some very 90s rave. Away we go.
this is where the future is. Virtual reality. This is where I look at my most attractive. If you want to take one of these home, it'll cost you £40,000. Yes! Sorry, I shot somebody. This is really weird. You can walk around and see in the world, and then when you put your hand in front of your face like that, you can see your own hand, and then you've got to shoot this dude in a white t-shirt. Because
I
The
think
weird thing is,
this would be.
you don't know what I'm talking about, do you? Because you
No,
can't see
no,
anything, but it's really good.
I was gonna say, I think that would have been a better piece if we could see what you were talking about. Oh, good old Ocean. They're still on the go today, I
The
believe.
winner of the competition gets a leather jacket. Sonic 2, the first chance for the public to play the game. What do you think of Sonic 2?
I think it's wicked.
Have you played Sonic 2? Yeah. You have? What did you think?
It's brilliant.
Give me 5, Sonic!
Or a handshake is just as good.
Right. Bizarre. Quite bizarre.
Furries would be having a field
time to
day.
attend the big event. For the last few weeks, thousands of people from all over Great Britain have been battling for the title National Computer Games Champion and the top prize of £10,000. We're now down to the last two, and here they are.
10
Alan
grand.
Brett from Nottingham and Tony Eaton from Stafford. Gentlemen, can I ask you first, to get to the standard, how much blooming playing do you do?
About 4 hours a day, sometimes more.
4 hours a day. What about yourself?
Been recently doing about 5 hours a day.
You play loads of games. What's
Yeah,
your favourite?
a bit of a one-upmanship there.
Golf on the Mega Drive.
Alan?
Street Fighter 2 on the Super NES.
And if you were the champion and won £10,000, what would you do with the money?
Put it in the bank and get the interest.
Very wise. And yourself?
Get a season ticket to the Wolves first and then a Mega CD.
The lads have to play 3 rounds. The first game is Lemmings 2. This is the first time anybody's seen the game. Alan wins that round and goes on to win the second round playing Sonic 2. Now it's all down to Street Fighter 2 for the grand finale. The winner taking away a cheque for £10,000 and the title National Computer Games Championship 1992. Give a round of applause to Alan!
So did he win? Presumably he won Street Fighter 2 as well, seeing as that was his favourite game. So it looks as though he gave that other guy right hiding. No Mega CD for you, my friend.
The big fella himself, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
WWF, promoting a new game on the SNES. It's mayhem here!
Andy Crusher Crane there. Since the show, we've had some bad news and some good news about Lemmings 2. The bad news is that it's slipped. It won't be available until February. But the good news is it will have an exclusive sneak preview on Bad Influence next week.
Game delays.
More games reviews.
Where have all the
First
kids
up
gone?
is Micro Machines. It's a plug-through cart, which means you've got to plug another game into it to make it work. Getting it in is hard enough, and getting it out a nightmare if it is any good. It's an overhead race game based on the Micro Machine models. You can choose to be one of 12 characters, each with different driving skills. Here to battle it out are Morgan, who's playing Super Cool Spider, and Robin, who's playing Dwayne the Unpredictable Genius.
This is a really interesting game because you race around different rooms in the house. We're on the billiard table at the moment. I'm a really erratic genius. And occasionally I get these brilliant bursts of speed.
I'm just so super cool.
He's a really erratic
No,
genius.
it's no horrors for me at all. You know, I'm just in there.
It has to be said, Micro Machines is
Here we
a
are,
pretty
playing a
amazing
different
game.
class from the normal. I've just won a bonus point. I got at least one screen away from my opponent.
Pure that was.
On this level, we're in tanks
two
and we're firing
suck.
at each other by pressing both buttons together.
You can use tactics on this, but you can only use it once before your player works out. Ha, I got you.
Oh, very sly. You'll not get away though. Perfect shot coming up.
Oh, it was indeed a perfect shot.
I'd say this was quite an average game. And one of the big problems for me is
Average?
that the earlier levels are far too hard.
Micro
The thing that bugs me about
Machines,
it is
average.
It gets very samey after a very short time. It's not recommended.
It's an unusual game. It's quite good, but I wouldn't want to play it over and over again because it's pretty boring.
God, you
Micro Machines is a good
losers.
idea, but it gets boring very quickly. The two-player mode gives it a bit of life.
Yeah,
And the
I mean,
score
yeah,
for
it's
Micro
a
Machines,
two-player game.
The boys gave
It's
it
a
an average
legend.
score, 3 out of 5, and the girls also gave it 3 out of 5.
Oh, well, they're all morons.
Next is Nigel Mansell's World Championship on the Amiga. It's a strange irony that this game should be released just as Nigel bows out of Formula 1 racing altogether. Bad timing, perhaps? Here's Claire to test the circuits.
Or actually, you know, perfect
This
timing.
game, it's really good. The graphics are really brilliant. You can see the hands moving. It's like being in a real racing car.
Yep, I
This
would
is
definitely
England
say
now, and as usual,
photorealistic.
It's raining. Luckily, you can choose your tyres to match the conditions. You can have wet, soft or hard. I'd recommend wet for when it's raining. You can also choose auto or manual gears. I like the tight corners. It's good that if you hit something, you still carry on. It slows your speed down though. The only thing I don't like about it is that it takes ages to load. If you haven't already bought a racing sim, this is a good one to get. I'd recommend this to my dad.
Why
who's
would you
quite
want more
picky
than one
about his
racing
games.
sim? Why would you want more than one racing game?
Mansell's had a big build-up, but don't believe the hype. There's too many of these kind of games already out, and this is not the best of the bunch. Just don't waste your money on it.
Good man.
Racing sims aren't my favourite game, and in my opinion, this one's pretty boring. It's just ordinary.
There's not much to recommend Nigel Mansell. The graphics are slow and jerky, there's very little trackside detail, and there's not enough room on the road to overtake.
So,
And the scores
quite
for
accurate
Nigel
to real
Mansell's
Formula
World
1 then.
Championship. The boys gave it a poor 2 out of 5, but the girls liked it. They gave it 4 out of 5.
Oh, so no, you know, no disparity there then.
Right, keyboard creeps. Throw away those biros that have 4
Oh.
different colours and pay attention.
There's something very nice
On the
about that
title
little
screen
bing
of
that
Adventure Island
the
on
Game
the
Boy
Game
used to
Boy.
do.
Press up, down, shake it all about. No, sorry. Right, left, A, B, A, B. All your levels are then listed on the screen. Fancy an adventure, Andy?
Not with you, thanks. I was sitting in the Bad Influence office the other week
Oh, so
when
mean to
this computer
Namrud.
disk landed on my desk. I stuffed it into my machine, and this is what came out. A high-tech way of getting publicity for a new film called, not surprisingly, Sneakers. To get this far, I had to enter the password CTech Astronomy. But I don't know the password for these other levels, so it won't let me in. Look, all it'll say is, access denied, try the character dossier. All I can get at the moment are these rather dull biographies of the actors in the film. There, for example, is Robert Redford, and if you go through, you can have everything you ever wanted to know about Sidney Poitier.
About Sidney Poitier,
Fascinating.
wow.
The film is released tomorrow. It's about a group
So,
of high-tech hackers.
effectively,
the
it's
Sneakers,
like an
who are
online
hired to
marketing
test security
campaign
systems.
before
In this clip, they're trying to
websites.
get government
So they've just
protection
effectively put a
without giving away
website
their
on
hideout.
a disc.
I'm going to bounce this call through 9 different relay stations throughout the world and off 2 satellites. It'll be the hardest trace they've ever heard.
Now, this will measure stress in the voice of the person on the other end of the line. Not as accurate as a polygraph, but for today's purposes, it'll do.
Who is this, please?
It's my dime. I'll ask the questions. Who are you?
Say my name is Mr. Abbott.
True.
They made the second leg.
Mr. Abbott, are you interested in C-Tech astronomy?
I'm interested in all kinds of astronomy.
Cute.
They've got the satellite in Tokyo. These guys are good. Got about 20 seconds, baby.
Somewhere at the other
I'll come
end,
in with
there's
what I know.
like people
Can you guarantee
typing
my
really,
safety?
really fast and windows popping up.
15 seconds.
They'll have like
Can
all
you
of
guarantee my
the writing scrolling in front of their
Can you
eyes
guarantee
in
my
like kind of a
safety?
5
hologrammatic way that away. Oh,
Bitch, he's lying. Hang up, they've almost got us.
they're tracking.
He's lying.
He's
Hang
tracking.
up.
Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone.
Exciting
Oh,
stuff, eh?
yeah, that
Now, I
was
know
very
the password
exciting.
For the next level is an anagram of C-Tech Astronomy. But I'm not very good at anagrams. Let me see. Scary motto scene?
Last week's competition prize was 4 of these supervisions with loads of games.
Yeah, I don't know what the
We asked for the
supervision
names
is.
of the 2 droids in Star Wars, and the answer was, of course, C-3PO and
Secret Uni
R2-D2.
Mast.
This week's competition prize is a Game Gear with TV tuner, and the question is,
And a massive
what is
aerial.
the name of the cowboy outlaw played by Robert Redford in a movie?
No idea.
Sorry, necessary motto. I'm sure it's necessary motto. Answers on a postcard or stuck down envelope to the usual Bad Influence address, which you will find in the data blast, to reach us by next Monday, please.
And don't forget, the Bad Influence magazine is in the shops from Saturday.
Please buy the
It is necessary
magazine.
motto.
Please buy the
Rapid warning,
magazine.
9:25.
Nobody
WhatsApp
spot
docs
the
on, grateful for your
magazine.
company for
Yeah,
that. Failing
please.
that, back here for Bad Influence next week. Ta-ra.
See ya.
And that's it. So there we go. That was another good episode over and done with. I quite enjoyed that. Overall, too quickly, as they always were when I was a kid. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you very soon with another episode.